Hey folks, it's time for another project. This is from a viewer, and it's a hunting knife, and I want to get this right, so I got the email here. This is the hunting knife his dad bought him when he first started hunting. He says it's fake leather, and he'd rather have a skilled craftsman make one that's going to last him the rest of his life. And he selected me. I'm honored to do this. It is real leather. It is just really low quality leather, and it has kind of like a paint on it as a finish. So it's not very good leather. So it appears to be fake. And it wasn't treated really well. So we're going to use a much higher quality leather. And we're going to do a nice job on it here. So I thought I would take you along for the ride. I asked, he's okay with us doing a video on it. I don't usually do these on video unless the customer is okay with it. So I'm honored to do this as a video for all of you to see. This is going to be a start to finish project. It's not a very expensive hunting knife. It's made in China. The leather is almost like a cardboard. It's a very, very low quality leather, as you would expect from something made in China at a low dollar figure, I'm sure. I did clean up the blade a bit, and I'll probably sharpen it up nice. But it's a really nice enough knife. I never know how well these things will hold the edge. I've got some Chinese knives, and I got one that just, every time I try to sharpen it, it just keeps chipping off the edge, so I quit trying. Anyway, we're going to go ahead. I'm not going to make a copy of this sheath because it doesn't fit real well. So we're going to make a whole sheath from scratch and make it fit this knife. So I'm going to put you down on the bench. We're going to start out making a pattern for it because that's where you got to start with it. A couple of things that I wanted to address here. The handle has kind of a swell to it in the middle. And when they made these sheaths, they made them to fit several different knives. Different blade designs, different knives. I have the ability to, not so much the ability, but the ability. I'm making it for one knife. I'm not making it for a dozen different styles of knives. One problem that this knife has is it's kind of loose in the sheath, and you can take the knife out without unsnapping the strap. So that's kind of a bad thing. We're going to prevent that from happening by moving this strap up a little. We're going to move it up. Some people like a strap that comes across the finger guard here and just snaps over here. While that's a nice way to do it, and it looks really nice and stuff, for something where you're going to be going through the woods, climbing trees, what have you, when you're deer hunting, I don't think that's a really good idea. I don't think it's a good way to address this kind of a problem. What happens is, when you have a strap down here, your knife can still come away from your body and get hooked on stuff. Or maybe you're going to brush up against a tree, and then your knife gets hooked on it, and you can tear your sheath apart. A poorly made sheath, maybe. But, it has that potential to wreck stuff. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to move this strap up a little bit. The handle has a bit of a swell to it in the middle here, both this way and this way. So if we move it up, we'll be able to take advantage of that swell so that if we make the strap a little snugger, it won't pull up and it will secure the knife better. So that's the way I'm going to address that kind of a problem. So there's that. from the edge of the blade out 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to wing this. It's taking too long the other way. Now when I do the back side, since there's this curve to the blade, when you look at the knife itself, try to get rid of some of these shadows here. When you look at the back of the knife, it's got a curved edge here and a curved edge here. I'm going to have to draw make kind of a straight line here. Well, at least this top part here. I'll come off of this point and it'll come straight. So there. Doesn't really look like I've got much of a curve here, but there is. And then when I come up across the top here, we'll just kind of, for the back, it's just going to kind of have a little bit of a swoop to it. And that'll just prevent things from coming apart. And I didn't measure anything there, right here. I just kind of did what felt right. And the rest of this is just going to be whatever this width is. I always want to look at the front, the skin side. Make sure there are no flaws in it that I don't want in the project. This is going to be to the back, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't ask him if this was going to be a right or a left-hand carry. Usually most people want it on the right, so we're going to make it for the right. Generally speaking, when you make a sheath, you want to make it so your cutting edge faces to the back. That way, when you draw the knife out, that cutting edge is not going to be facing forward where it can hurt somebody. It's going to be facing back where it's going to do the least amount of damage. So I'll make it for a right hand carry, and that's just because most people are right-handed. So the back of the sheath, this part needs to go to the face the back, and on a right hand this side will be the back. And if you want to write on there, right hand, back. So this is going to go on the skin side, which is the side we have up. The flesh side is the back. So that's the way I want it, right there. I'm going to flip it over though, and I'm going to put that side facing down. And we'll just trace it out. Now I'm going to set my leather aside because I want to cut all my pieces at once. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my front piece off. Where did I put my knife? There it is. And now with our front piece, I don't know how well you'll see, if I put it on here the same way that this one is, we're going to have this fleshy side facing out. The front piece, you need to reverse that so that you have the nice side facing out. So there's my 3 pieces. This is a little knife that you've never seen me use before. It's kind of a kiradashi kind of deal. I use this for skiving some really thin leather sometimes. It'll also do a really nice job getting in here to trim this.
What is...
My wife, she usually checks to see if I'm recording. Sometimes I don't like this knife. It just did something I didn't want it to do, which might cause me to remake this entire sheath. It just cut really close here. Not what I needed. We'll see what happens here. I'll get it sanded. I'll probably stitch it up anyway. Get everything sanded. We'll see how it comes out, see how close that winds up being. I'll show you what got screwed up. So far, it's not so bad. I could deal with this. It got a little close here, but it's still okay. There's still plenty of leather there to be good. On the back side though, it just got a little too close. My hills, for some reason, angled out a little bit. And it can happen that way. It just does sometimes. You get just a little bit off, and that's why I always say you need to leave plenty of room. And I like to leave that at least 1/8 of an inch. That leaves me plenty of room. Because sometimes you'll get just that little teeny bit off, and it only takes a 32nd of an inch to get too close. Once I got all this sanded out where I was cool with where it was, and I got to the back, it left that too close. Because with the knife in there, it kind of pulls apart a little, and I've never had that problem before, so I don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to give that some thought while I'm evening up all my edges here, sanding a little. The sanding is going to take a while. I'll get a little bit of it with the Dremel, or not a Dremel, it's a rotary tool, but not a Dremel. In the end, there are some things I can live with, and some things I can't. The way the top was working out, I couldn't live with it. It just, this top corner just would not, I could not get it secured very well. It wasn't feeling right, and the knife would pull away at the very edge, and I didn't like the way it was working out. It just didn't feel right, it didn't look right, it didn't seem right. So in the end, I can't, if I don't feel good about it and I don't like the way it's looking, it's not leaving my shop. And that's just the way it is. So there you go. Starting over. All over. Starting from scratch. I have the pattern. I will cut new leather. Start over. I'm not going to show it all. If I do, I'm going to make a totally separate video of it. And we'll just call it part 2. I don't like it. That's twice now that I haven't liked it. What do? You start over, and you make something that you can be proud of.